Okay,
Okay.
it's recording, so whenever
Okay,
you're
it's
ready.
recording. Okay, got it, Mrs. Spencer? Okay. We are at Orchard Park High School, Orchard Park, New York. The date is Friday, October 27th, 2006. We are interviewing Mr. Paul Rasp, who served in the United States service during World War II. The interviewers are
Mitch Casey.
Caitlin Bunker, Brittany Fiato, Hillary Krutchik.
who is Mr. Rasp's granddaughter, and also Chelsea
Hallinger.
Kellinger. All right, this interview should take about 45 minutes. The students are here to learn about what life was like in the military during World War II. So have a great time and tell them everything.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll be back.
Okay. All right. So tell us about what you did. What department you were in?
Well, when I first went in the Navy, I was assigned to the Armed Guard. That was the Navy gun crews and the Liberty ships, the merchant ships. And I have quite a bit of material from that. It was, well, I can just read some of it here. There were 144,000 of us in the Armed Guard unit who served on 6,236 ships. Of that, 1,810 lost their lives. Over 280,000 merchant seamen operated the ships, and the Armed Guard were to protect them, the ship and its cargo. Approximately 6,849 were killed, with 710 of the ships being sunk. Now, this, as it said here, we were the Navy gun crews sailing along with the merchant marines. Those were the fellows that actually sailed. They were not military people. They were in the maritime service. And I have all of this material here that I've gathered up when I heard I was coming here. I came across this article here by an ensign, and it shows one of the Liberties going down after being torpedoed.
Oh wow.
And they called them fish food. We were known as fish food. In other words, we were very vulnerable to attacks like this and so on. In the convoys, when they left the States, there was probably 100 ships in them, from one horizon to the other. And we traveled in columns, so many ships in a column, probably a quarter of a mile apart. And then, of course, the outer columns were more subject to torpedo and attack than those on the inner columns. And if a ship got in trouble with engine problems or something, they would drop off in between the columns, and that was pretty much the end of them. And we were escorted by Navy destroyer escorts, and they would circle the convoy like this on submarine patrol and so on. So it was very interesting. I was a very young man, and I enjoyed every minute of it, really.
Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted. Yeah.
How old were you when you enlisted?
I was 17 years old when I went in.
What made you want to
Well, my brother was in. He was at submarine service, and me, like a lot of other guys, they just couldn't wait till they got in. Everybody was just gung ho, ready to go. And I worked on my parents until they finally decided that they would sign for me. I had to have their signature, to be able to join. And I had hopes that when I got into boot camp that I would be assigned to submarine service like my brother, but it didn't happen that way.
Didn't luck out?
No, I happened to be in a group that was selected for the Armed Guard, like I said, and we were sent down to Gulfport, Mississippi. We went to gunnery school down there. And then from there up to the Armed Guard Center in Brooklyn, New York. And that's where I picked up the first ship that I sailed on. And now I have some data on these ships. This one here, they're saying 60 years ago a Liberty ship was born. I just highlighted some of the highlights of there. It was knocked out in 56 days from the keel laying to launch. It was built to be disposable after only one transatlantic crossing. They figured that they wouldn't last too long. They were thrown together quite rapidly, but they were all right. They probably had a great deal to do to win the war with all the materials and supplies that they were able to transport over there. Now this will just give you an idea here how quickly they built these things. They were all like prefabbed. A certain unit was made by one group and another, then the final assembly. Now I don't know what shipyard this was, but there's 9 of them being produced all at one time. And the record, I read somewhere, the record was, one of them was made in 4 days.
Whoa.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So it was amazing how quickly this country of ours could regroup and produce such things as this. It was just unbelievable. Now here's a picture of a tanker that's refueling the USS Lexington at sea. The Lexington was an aircraft carrier, and you can see how they hooked up the lines pumping the fuel from this being the tanker over to the carrier. I thought that might be interesting to see.
Was it just like out of gas or?
Diesel fuel, yeah, in those days, you know, they weren't nuclear.
Oh, right.
They were steam boilers with fuels and so on. Now, this is a picture of one of the tankers. When they were loaded, they had very little freeboard, and you could see how the waves would break over the deck. Freeboard means the distance from the height of the deck to the top of the water. And in some cases, we would be loaded to the point where we would have maybe only 6 or 7 feet of freeboard. And then the cargo, there was cargo on the decks. And they built wooden walkways to the gun tubs so we could get there. Because on the decks there were tanks and trucks and jeeps and aircraft and cartons and all this stuff. So it was an interesting thing. Now this is just for the sake of give you an idea how many ships there were. This is a list of them all.
Is that like alphabetical?
Yes, it is, yeah. You can see, look at them all. And to think that all of these were produced in such a short time. Now here's the one I was on here. I've highlighted it here. There's known as the James J. Hill right here, this one.
Nice.
And I do have some pictures of it. We'll get to those later. But then after I finished up, well, I didn't exactly finish up, but most of my time was spent in the Mediterranean. We were shuttling the British, I stand corrected here, I'm not sure whether, I think it was the 8th Army. We were shuttling from Genoa, Italy, over to Marseille, France. We would pick up these British armies in Genoa, and they would drive up to the side of the docks with their gun carriers, their weapon carriers, and tanks and trucks and so on. And we would throw a cable on them, a lift, and put them in the hole for the ship very quickly, just to get them out of there. And then there was a steady stream of these things going back and forth to move this army out of Italy up into Marseille, France, before the end of the war. So after that, when I come back to the States, and I got 2 weeks leave, and they sent me out to San Francisco to another gunnery school. This is, this really, there isn't too much to this, but it was at the Navy base known as Treasure Island. It was on a small island between Oakland, California, and San Francisco, over the Bay Bridge. And like I say, it was known as Treasure Island, and they converted it to this Navy base. And these are just some pictures that I took from the pointer here, this publication that comes out every once in a while. And it shows a couple of guys that learning how to break down a 20-millimeter gun. And you can see that our training facilities were far from the best. It's certainly not what you folks have here. But there was the operation showing us how to operate the 20-millimeter. And this is a picture of a gun crew in one of the gun tubs working on the 20-millimeter, or firing it, I should say. Now this here, this is not the ship I was on, but this is what they look like. This is what the Liberty looked like. They, you can see that there's gun tubs up here. This was usually a 3-inch 50 mount here, and these were 20 millimeters. Then there were 20 millimeters up on the bridge, and then we had a 5-inch 51 on the stern, and a couple of 3-inch 50s back there. Now some of the quarters, the crew's quarters, were in the main superstructure, and here I happen to be in the fantail, and what they call the fantail.
Is that better or is
Turn
that
of the
worse?
ship. Pardon?
Is that better or worse to have your cabin
Well,
there?
I think we felt the rough weather more than the others. But what interesting thing about this is we stayed or lived in forecastle, they call them, and below our forecastle was the steering engine room, and there was a steam engine, a 2-cylinder steam engine that just that made the worst noise. You wouldn't believe how noisy that thing was, and that's how you had to sleep with that. You got used to it after a while. But now this particular one here, I told you about the freeboard. See, now this guy is empty here. You can even see where it's painted this way, see, but in those days, the water line might have been right around here or something, see, and down, way down in the water. But when we came back, when we were empty like this, it was unbelievable what these ships would do. They used to put cinders down in them, or anything to weight them, to hold them down. If we got in rough water, the screw would come out, known as the propeller. To you would be the propeller, but under ship's language, it was the screw. The ship would lift so badly, like this, that the screw would come out of the water. And it would flop around like this, and the stern of the ship would jump in. And then it goes the other way. Then the bow is way up. There were a number of them broke in half. That was one of the threats of these things. They were a totally welded ship, and like especially up in the North Atlantic, they lost an awful lot of them. Now this particular article, it was done by a professor, John Baker. He was the head of the engineering in some college up there. I just don't remember. I didn't copy the whole thing. University of Cambridge, they made a study on it, and they determined the reason they were breaking was the water was so cold up in the North Atlantic that the metal became brittle, and you can see what happened. They salvaged this one. This ship here, you can see where it's broken right in half here, you see?
Mm-hmm.
See this crack here? Well, now normally, that ship would be gone. I mean, you know, naturally it would take on so much water and it would be gone, see? And also the crews with it, because it was so cold up there, you couldn't possibly survive in the cold weather, cold water.
Well,
Pardon?
I didn't even know that could happen, just break.
Oh, yeah, there were a lot of them would break up, yeah. When we were in extremely rough weather, our officer would make us go up into what we call the mess hall. And that was midships, that was here. Mess hall is in this superstructure here. And there was quite a bit of wood in there, but anyhow, in really rough weather, we had to go up there and we had to wear life jackets and weather the storm out. And these things would just creak, they go. And the galley, this is a stovetop, they had bars to fasten everything so it wouldn't go sliding all over. But the soup would spill over into the potatoes and the potatoes would spill over. Yeah, this is just a picture. This happens to be the Brown, which is still, there's only a couple of them still in existence, and this is one of them. And the association, I belong to, the Armed Guard, they still keep this thing going through contributions of people and so on. And it's based down in Baltimore. And this is just quite an interesting article about it, tells you all about it. But, they were known as the Ugly Ducklings. President Roosevelt put that name on them. He called them the ugly ducklings. Okay, so now I'm through with the Armed Guard. I come home and I got 2 weeks leave. And then they shipped me out into the Pacific. So I was assigned to an aircraft carrier in the Pacific. It was known as an escort carrier, which was a smaller one, much smaller than the regular ones. And its number was, and name was the Kasaan Bay. That was the logo of the ship, and they had decals for you for everything like that. And now this here is, was made up by, when they decommissioned it, everybody that had been assigned to it aboard, they sent this to us. And it gives you all the figures now. I didn't participate in the Atlantic Theater over here on it. I was over here in the Pacific. And this is amazing, really. When you see the aircraft carriers today, the size of them and so on, you can notice here, this is an interesting figure here. The flight deck on this one was 480 feet, that's all. Can you imagine landing an aircraft on the floor?
That's really not very long.
Yeah. These guys, these pilots were something else. They were by far really experts. But of course, the ships, the planes were not going quite as fast as they are today either. But, and another thing, this was not what they call a canyon deck. Today the deck is this way. And if they miss the arresting gear, they just go around again. But ours, the CVE was straight like this. And if they miss the hook, the so-called arresting gear, there's a hook comes out of the plane that catches this cable, so you have to stop them. That's, and if they overshoot that, there were just nothing but, there were midships here, just behind what they call the forward elevator. There were big arms that came up and they had 3/8-inch cables strung back and forth. The planes would go into that, rather than where they were being handled on the elevator up here. So you can see we were over into the Philippines, and so I got on it in Hawaii. I picked the ship up in Hawaii. And then I rode it all the way through the Panama Canal up here, up into Boston, and that's where, at the end of the war, that's where it was put in mothballs. So they preserved it, and it sat there for, I don't know, quite a few years. And finally it was towed over to Japan for scrap. They scrapped it, so. And I belong to another group, the Navy Memorial Foundation, and you're registered with that.
Oh, how cute.
Oh, man.
And how old were you there? In
Oh,
1945?
probably 18,
Oh, wow.
yeah. And you can dial up on the computer, and that's all in there. And,
Wow.
yeah, it's nice, they offer that. Now, what else have I got here? Oh yeah, this might be interesting. These are some of my souvenirs. This is,
Oh, wow. Was that European money?
yeah, French. Some of it goes
Wow.
back to
Oh.
1929.
Jeez.
Now, if you hold those up to the light, nothing is new. There's images in those bare spots. You see them?
Oh, yeah.
See it?
Oh.
And we have that today, as you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
see, so nothing is new, just recycled.
Oh, that's really good.
And this, here's some more of them here. This is the German marks here, this one up here.
Oh.
And then, I got a lot of my souvenirs,
Bring them out.
in Marseille, France. In the harbor, there were old German anti-aircraft bunkers there, and we got a lot of stuff from them. There's
Is that your belt?
no, that's not my belt.
Oh.
But
What does that say?
God is with us. God is with us, or God is with us, or something it says. But I get quite a kick out of this thing.
Yeah.
Look
Do
here.
you use that gold or?
No, it's not. It's
Oh, it's not.
German.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
there's a swastika.
They weren't fed very well or something, but this is a soldier
really?
belt.
Wow. That's pretty little.
It wouldn't go around my thigh. But I thought, I treasure this thing, really. It's something nice to have. But
I think they were their
and in those same bunkers, why this is kind of gives you the creeps a little bit, I guess. But these are some letters that are written in German. I have no idea what they say, but
Wow.
I don't know whether the letters were to and from who or whatever. But
Now, you found these in bunkers?
yes,
Where?
in the harbor at Marseille, France.
Did you just, were they there? Were like the Germans there and you had to go?
Oh no, they were out. They were gone. But you can see that they lived in these bunkers. I mean, that these parts of uniforms were in there and everything else. And along with that, I got this thing here. This is an interesting thing. This here, I cut this from a sandbag that made up the
Oh my
bunkers.
Oh my god.
You know, it was a big burlap bag that they filled with sand and piled up, you know how that
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
And I just, see, it's empty.
Wow.
So I just cut it out of there. And so the old spot sticker.
Wow.
What else we got here? What other kind of goodies we got? Oh, here's something from Harry S. Truman, believe it or not.
Oh,
But when I went in the service,
wow. Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh my God, he signed that himself?
I don't know. I don't really know whether it's signed by him directly or not. I really
Oh,
don't know.
he must have. Oh, yeah.
But anyhow, I probably should have had these out there first. In boot camp, these are what you wore. These were the boots.
Oh, wow.
You wore those all the time. It was part of your uniform. And also when you were on shore patrol, you know, after you were, you know what shore patrol is.
What is shore patrol?
Like MPs, military
Oh.
police.
Oh.
You wore armband and carry a nightstick.
Yeah.
Kept the guys in line that they behaved themselves while they're on liberty. Oh, here's something here that, this thing here. I suppose nowadays they probably have GSP or something, but this was in all the life rafts and all the lifeboats. And what it was is, if you were lucky enough to be between somebody that's trying to see you, to rescue you in the sun, you put the aircraft or the ship in here, and you flick it like this,
Oh, Morse code, yeah.
and it would flash up to 10 miles, they say.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just, you can peer through it, you can see the principle of it. And you know how you would go with a mirror like this to attract their attention?
That's so
So,
cool.
Chance some people could use that today.
yeah. Yeah, I kind of started backwards, I guess. This was the Blue Jackets manual that we had to study and learn so much of this to progress in rank. When you go in the service, you're on your jumper, you only have one stripe. You're an apprentice seaman. And then you study and you learn all of this, and you go to seaman second class. Now you got 2 white stripes on your jumper, and then finally third, and then from third you go to a petty officer that goes up. And this, I had looked through this the other day. It brought back so many memories. It's just unbelievable. There's just everything in here, including, years ago, don't ask me why, but when I was in the service, all your belongings were in a sea bag, what they called a sea bag. You had a sea bag and a hammock, and you used to have to cart that all everywhere you went. You had this hammock, you had a mattress, you had a pillow and a blanket, and then all of your gear was packed in a sea bag. And that had to be rolled in such a way and packed that you could carry this whole thing on your shoulder. The sea bag and they called it. And what else we got here? Oh, these here, Hillary's mom gave me a picture frame, and I just haven't gotten to it yet, but I was reading a VFW magazine one day, and there was a little article on the bottom there about how you could go and get your medals that you had earned. So I filled it out, and geez, a month and a half, 2 months later, I go to the mailbox, and there they are. They sent them to me.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're quite nice, really. They're bronze. And
Oh.
there's, I earned 4 of them. There they are. We'll get rid of some of that stuff.
So you earned these in the Navy? Or
Pardon me?
did you earn these in the Navy?
Oh, yeah, yeah. What they are the different theaters that I served in. Atlantic and the Pacific and then the Mediterranean.
That's so nice.
Now, what else we got here? What else we got there? Oh, here's some more things. These are from the German uniforms.
Oh, wow. Did you actually take these off?
They were in the bunkers in uniforms, yeah, I cut them off, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and these here, this here is, this was for gunner's mates. This is first class. I happen to be third class, which meant I only had the 1 stripe, see? But that
That's
was,
neat.
that's what you wore on your sleeve.
Oh, you just sew it on? So.
Yeah. Yeah. And these are my dog tags. You heard of dog tags.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Your serial numbers on there, your date of, your religion and everything else is on there. Well, these are actually what you wore, these campaign bars. You didn't wear the medals, but these were they're the same thing. You go by the colors, you see. this one and that and so on. And this here, my folks gave me this when I went in the service. My name on it, Mom and Pop in the back.
Aw.
Everybody had an ID bracelet. Now, what else we got here? I got some interesting coins. Take a look at these. I looked at these the other day, and I have one I don't even know what it is myself. But these are from all over, Panama and France and Germany and Italy and also, now this is the one here. I've got to find out about this.
Whoa.
This is, it's United States of America, but it's for 50 centavos.
What?
Yeah, the government did that. They had script money that they actually didn't use our own currency. They used, they had things like this Japanese thing here. This is not Japanese money, but it was used as such. This was printed by the United States during the war. Yeah, let's see, what else we got here? This was, my wife and I, we just attended, we go every year, we just attended a reunion up at Lake George here in September. And there were 147 of us, 174 of us, I should say, had that transposed from the Guard, and they're from all over the northeastern part of the country. And they get together once a year. And this is some of the bumper sticker hits everybody had on their cars. Now we got some pictures.
Oh, good.
Someone wants to, you can explain what they are as we go along there, I guess.
All right, who's this a picture of?
Yeah, that we're rotating one of the, what was known as a 5-inch 38. There's a beautiful gun mount. It was all
That's
operated
big.
by hydraulics. And,
Wow.
yeah, they're working on that. And there's some of my friends that I sailed with.
Aw. Do you ever?
And
Did you
gun
ever?
tub.
Oh, keep going.
No.
Did you ever talk to anyone after the war?
There were,
Like friends you made?
no, there were 27 of us, that's all, on each ship.
Oh.
And it's a small crew, and they were from all over the country. But
That's big.
that's a 40 millimeter mount, anti-aircraft.
Really nice stuff.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
very big.
They were a nice gun too, yeah. There's another 40 millimeter there.
And is that one of you or just your friends?
With some friends, yeah. Now that guy there, he was Van Horn, his name was, he was from Philadelphia. He was a, what they call a fire control man. He, with that instrument he's working at there now, had control of those 40 millimeters. The one guy would handle 3 or 4 guns. Just, you can see how he has that thing in his hand.
Yeah.
I wonder what they have today, the technology they
Oh.
have today.
Yeah, it's probably much
Yeah.
different.
Now let's see, there was what they call a flying bridge on the Liberty ship. Now that's one of the seamen from the Merchant Marine. He's at the helm, he's steering the ship from up on the top of the deck.
Wow.
And that other picture on the right there, that's towards the stern. You can see the gun tubs and so on the stern of the ship.
More friends?
More friends, yeah, yeah. It's me right there. You just had your finger on
This
it,
one?
me, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Aww. That's so cute. Is this your everyone?
That was,
Also on
that was
side?
the crew. Yeah, that was taken over in Naples, Italy.
That's him. Was it taken in Italy?
Yeah.
Wow.
And an army truck, they took us up to Pisa, the Leaning Tower of
Oh
Pisa.
wow.
Yeah, they took us up there and we had a chance to see that.
Go up to it and go like, and pretend it's like you're pushing against it.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. That thing has stood there all those years, and look at how it's leaning.
Yeah.
What are those from? U.S.?
One of them is a merchant marine, the guy in the black. He is an officer on the ship, and that was our officer.
Oh.
The 27 of us, we had one officer. He was a lieutenant, junior grade, what they call a JG. He was in charge of the Navy guys. That was in front of the cathedral at the Leaning Tower. That's me getting a little sun on the hangar
Aw,
deck,
got a
or the
nice
flight deck,
tan.
I should say. And that's what they call the island. That's where the skipper was up in there, and they sailed the ship from up there, that little small island. This is one of the planes that were on it.
Oh, those are all planes, aren't they?
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's over in Manila. That's a Japanese ship that sunk in the harbor over in Manila, in the Philippines.
That is?
Yeah, it's sitting on the bottom. Yep.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, it's sunk.
Oh, wow.
There's another picture of one of them right there. There's another one. See?
oh.
Jeez.
Yeah,
It's like underwater.
yeah, it's laying on the bottom. Now, those are the mules that take you through the Panama Canal.
Oh.
You see the lines from the ship here. I don't know whether you can see them in that picture or not, but those are the little dollies or whatever you want to call them that pull you through
Locks
the
or
canal.
whatever.
Yeah. We went through
Is
But-
it again?
yeah, there's another picture of it, yeah. There's another one. That's in Manila. That's how badly things were blowing up over there.
So,
Uh,
Are those nurses or?
just
Just people
Oh, nurses.
picking up scrap or whatever. Yeah, that there is in Genoa, Italy, those pictures there. You see the kids playing there. Everything was really blowing up pretty badly.
where was this thing?
That was in Genoa, Italy.
Oh, really?
Now, that's the skipper of the merchant marine, and that woman there was a British correspondent. We took her from Orient, Africa, to Marseille.
Was
Yeah.
the whole town like that?
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the most blown out place I'd ever seen, really, was Genoa, Italy.
Have you ever gone
Just
back?
leveled over. We've been back in Italy, but that's since then.
Is this you?
No, that's a friend of mine. That's really, it's not a live bomb, it's a sand, they filled it with
Yeah.
sand.
It'd
And
be
they
live.
bombed our own ship with them.
Well,
They were-
aw.
Yeah, they were filled up with sand, they just practice things.
Is this still in Italy?
Yeah, I treasure that picture, it's an old, that was in a Giassio, Corsica. And that's an old guy there mending the fishing nets. The Giassio was just gorgeous, it was just such a beautiful place. And that's me in Panama.
Aw, your little senior suit on.
I got one more here, this is from boot camp. They, all your friends sign
Oh,
this.
wow. Okay.
It's just a cartoon type of thing, yeah. That was an experience. Everybody getting a haircut.
Oh, what did you guys do? Like, did you ever see like actual combat? Like, were you?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we were strafed a number of times in the Mediterranean, and then also over in the Philippines on the carrier.
What did you guys do like in your spare time when you weren't like when y'all were just hanging out? What did you guys do for fun to keep the time going? Or were you always working?
Well, we usually stood, 4 hours on watch, 4 off, around the clock, 4 on, 4
Oh,
off.
wow.
Did you
Like
sleep
it.
like when you weren't watching? Did you just sleep or play cards? Or
Yeah, just try to amuse yourself, there's nothing else you can do. But, in convoy at night, why, everything was, there had no lights at all on any of the ships, and there you're standing out there in total darkness, and you're supposed to be looking for things with binoculars, and you couldn't see past the end of your nose, it was so black.
Now, the guy,
Now, there's all the guys that signed
Whoa.
in. There was 112 in the company in boot camp.
did everyone have one of these, or?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Did you sign 120?
yeah.
That's quite an accomplishment itself.
Oh, right here too. Oh, that's so cool. The veteran we had yesterday, talked about how everyone was like really into smoking and stuff, and a lot of people were into like smoking cigarettes, and a lot
Oh,
of people.
yeah, oh, yeah. Everybody did that. They were 6 cents a pack.
Wow.
We paid 60 cents for a carton. So everybody did it. I mean, I'm not proud of the fact, but like everyone else, everybody did it. But, yeah, it was, I love the Navy, really. I came very close to staying in. But, of course, I had a girlfriend back home who
Aww.
turned out to be my wife and Hillary's grandma. But,
So cute.
yeah. Now, this might be interesting to you folks. Remember I told you about the sea bag?
Yeah.
And all of our clothing and so on? All of our clothing had to be rolled in a certain way, and these are known as clothes tops. Everything had to have 2 of these on there on each end. You had little pieces of twine like this or whatever. And then they had to be piled, piled. They had to be packed in this sea bag in a certain way. And it was really something. It was unbelievable, really, the discipline, but it was good though. I wouldn't give up those days for nothing. I just loved it, really. But we had an incident one time in boot camp. The master at arms, he was only maybe a 2nd class or 3rd class petty officer, but he was in charge of our group of boots. These guys signed in the book there. And I don't know what time it was, I don't remember, so many years ago, over 60-some years, but say it was 9:30 or something. He would come into barracks and he would holler, lights out, the smoking lamp is out, silence about the deck. See, and that meant everybody, boom, jump in the sack, quiet, absolute quiet. And we had, like we all have, there's one in every group, they say. This one guy lets out a horse laugh. Well, Sammy, the master of arms, he threatened us. He says, "Okay, you guys," he says, "one more like that, and you're going to get nailed." And this guy let out another horse
Oh,
laugh.
no.
So all the lights go on in the barracks. Everybody gets up, get dressed. We had to pack our sea bags and hammocks. Everything had to come out of the locker, be rolled, tied up like this in the sea bag. Take your hammock, your mattress, your pillow, your blanket, and fold it up, roll it up in a certain way. The sea bag went in the middle, the ends come up like this. Now you got all your belongings in one pile on your shoulder, and we had to run around the grinder, what they call the grinder. It was a half a mile, a track around the barracks.
Oh gosh.
So everybody's running around that, and then we get back to the barracks, unpack the sea bag and hammock, had locker inspection, and went to bed. 20 minutes later, it's
Wake up.
time to get up.
Were you upset?
But from
Yeah.
that point on, when Sammy said it's silence about the deck
It
and
was
the
silent.
smoking lamp, you could hear a pin drop in the place.
Did you ever find out who was the one that
No,
left?
no,
Oh.
no. But, those things happen, and that's the way it has to be with a group of guys like that, you know.
How much did the bag weigh? How much stuff?
Oh, it was pretty heavy. You had everything in there. You had your winter clothes, and you had
Yeah.
shoes, and all of your
Mattress and
your uniforms, and a mattress and pillow. I probably couldn't even lift it today. But,
So overall, what was your most memorable moment like over the entire experience? War?
probably in the Mediterranean when we were strafed a couple of times, and seeing that moving the army, like I told you, the British 8th Army out of there, that was very interesting how they did that. And what they were doing, that's if you remember in your history, that's when Patton made that last drive from France right up
Yeah.
through. Well, this British group was with them that was part of the group that did it. They claimed he was moving so fast they had to fly gasoline into him and right at the end of the war. So I think that was probably the highlight. But you can expect some of the experiences we had, you know, other than that, the rough weather that we experienced and so on. There were a lot of guys, these convoys, like I said, would start out probably more than 100 ships in them, and as they approached England around that way, why some of them split off and they went on what they called the Merman's Run, and that was by far the most dangerous thing that anybody could encounter, really, is to go up into Merman's Russia with supplies and cargo and all this stuff. But about 2 out of every 5 ships would go down, I guess. They're right up by the German submarine pens, you know, up in the North Sea, or what is that up there? Is that the North Sea up there? What is it, the Baltic or something? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But that was by far probably the most dangerous thing for. But fortunately, I wasn't involved with that one.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
But it took us, one time we did that, we split off, and one of the half of the convoy went up, and we went down through the Rock of Gibraltar into the Mediterranean. And we were 32 days to Naples, Italy. It took us 32 days to get over there. And it was interesting there too, the Rock of Gibraltar. There were, you know what Catalinas are? You probably don't know what Catalinas, aircraft. They were real slow flying aircraft, like a amphibious type of vehicle, or craft I should say. And they constantly flew back and forth through the Straits of Gibraltar looking for submarines. And gee, it just wasn't just very low over the top of the water. It was interesting to see. Okay.
Well, did you learn anything like that you took when you came back? That like any type of I don't know, like did you take any experience?
Qualities.
Yeah, like.
Did you learn any qualities while you were in the war that you still use today?
Well, yeah, I think so. Yeah, mechanical abilities, you know, learn some about hydraulics and so on. Working on the boats, on the guns and so on. So we learned quite a bit from that.
Now, do you still have your uniform?
No, your grandmother cut it up and made snowsuits for your sister out of it.
Well, I do what you gotta do. Wow.
That was something I can't believe that my wife did that, but I had my blues and everything, and it was just something to have. And it was wonderful materials, you know, the wools and so on. And between my mother and my wife, well, they made snowsuits out of
They
it.
took full advantage of it.
How many years did you serve?
just two, honey, that's all. In 1944 to 1946, that's all. So I got out in 1946.
You got great stuff here from good times.
Pardon me?
You got good stuff, and you got good souvenirs from
Oh,
good
yeah,
times.
yeah. Well, I'm glad that I have them, you know, that they'll just be passed on. Maybe my grandson or Hillary will end up with some of them, maybe.
Wow. I think
Yeah.
we're done. Thank you very much for coming in and sharing your story with us.
Thank you
Well,
for
it's
your
my
time.
pleasure, nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
Thanks.
And good luck to all three of you. It's been great, thank you.
Yeah, she's gonna come in. She's gonna come in and take our picture now.
Oh, you gotta come take a
Yep,
picture.
we get a group picture.
Oh, okay, all right.
And then I think you guys come get copy some of the stuff for your project. So we did yesterday.
Look at this one, yeah. See the swastika in there?
Oh, wow.
So this pin, like, where do you know where they wore this on their? Was it like their arm or their chest or on their uniform? Do you know where they wore it?
You know, I can't answer that. I really don't know. I really don't know. Okay.
Here's all your little stuff.
Okay.
Great. You know what I'm gonna do now is take your pictures together,
Okay.
and then we'll scan some of your memorabilia.
Oh,
So we'll go downstairs, and if anybody saw something they want scanned, well, this young lady's gonna scan it for us.
okay.
And if you wait just a few minutes, we'll scan it, and then you can,
Okay.
okay. Or you can leave it and your granddaughter will pick it up, whichever way you wanna do it.
I could pick it up if you want.
What, all of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can wait, whatever you wanna do.
Oh, I got one more thing here.
You can scan some things to put on the PowerPoint.
This is interesting. How,
That looks good.
firing pin, see? And if you push this, you can hear it tick just like a watch.
Wow.
You hear it?
Yeah.
Now, can you imagine, this was in the nose of each artillery shell. And in here, look at this, where is it? Oh, there's ball bearings in there.
Is it really?
Yeah, you see them?
Yeah.
You see the little ball bearings? Can you imagine the work? And now these guns, they probably fired maybe 50 or 60 rounds of these per minute. And can you imagine producing all of this?
Really?
Yeah, it's unbelievable, yeah. On your sheet there are possible questions we asked, did I have a good luck piece? There it is, right there.
What is it?
It's a 1926 silver dollar.
There's
Is it
nothing on it.
I've carried, I know, that's from carrying it.
Oh,
Did you,
wow.
did
My
you carry it in your
wow.
pocket all
My
these
folks
years?
gave me that the day I went into service, and I still have it.
Tell them about how it fell out the window.
Oh, it's been lost a couple of times, but I found it.
That's,
I've been carrying that for over 60 years.
Jeez.
That's worn pretty thin. It was the date of my birthday, a silver dollar. It was a good luck piece that was given to me. And it's been good to me, I'm still around, so.
Doing your
Oh, yeah, I used to have a lot of fun with this. Remember Colonel Clayton?
Isn't that how it fell out the window?
Oh, yeah. I'm not
That's a
gonna
story
tell
for
all the
later.
tales, Bill. Okay.
Can we get you guys to stand